Hello and welcome to episode 1 of How to Contract in Kerbal Space Program. My name is Jim and this is a new tutorial series for version 0.24, the new first contracts version of Kerbal Space Program. And my goal in this series is just like in my previous tutorial series, How to Science, is to show you guys, start a new game here, how to get through these early days of contracts and science with basic, reasonable builds, nothing heroic, no Scott Manley, clear the science tree and 2 mission type flights. We are just going to figure out things step by step, which paths to try, which to avoid. I'll just go to the regular flag. We're in career mode with the contracts and science and everything we have to do. So first let me talk about, there's a new building. Mission control is now open. So we have the normal space hangar, space plane hangar, VAB, the home of the Kerbals where we can get more science, tracking station, and launch pad and runway. But now we have mission control, and we get contracts that we can accept. And if we complete them, we get rewards of funds, science, and or reputation. Some come with science, some don't. They all have some kind of monetary reward, and they all have some reputation we can gain. And if we fail by not completing it, at some point, then we lose that amount. However, there's different kinds. These are a couple basic ones. We have Escape the Atmosphere, Orbit Kerbin. And then there'll be later contracts, I'll show you that, where we test different parts and different conditions. And you'll have a list here of ones that we've accepted, and ones that we've completed will be here, or failed, or cancelled. So these are the 4 that you always start with. Launch a new vessel, set an altitude record of 5,000 meters, escape the atmosphere, and orbit Kerbin. We're going to go ahead and accept all of these, just to get them in our active tab, and also so we can see them as we're building ships in the VAB or spaceplane hangar. So let's go back to main screen. So now we want to, let me show, here's our funds. So since we've accepted those missions, we got some advances on some of them, and now we start with 10,000, now we have 36,000. This is our reputation bar, and this is our science. We have no science right now, and it's the usual science tree. 5 science to unlock the first tier, more science to unlock the next one, and so on and so on. So that's just as before. But now the missions create an extra little thing we have to do. We have to collect funds to be able to keep our space program going. And that has caused some people some problem, because there are some missions are a little harder than others. And if you use too much of the funds building rockets for missions that fail, you're going to run out of money. So let's go into the VAB. And here's where we can see our contracts. Launch a new vessel, achieve an altitude of 5,000 meters, reach space, achieve orbit. But my recommendation is to not worry about these for the very first mission. We're going to do exactly what we did in How to Science. We're going to get our basic space capsule. We're going to put 1 crew member in there, Jebediah. He's going to go do our first mission for us. And we're just going to put that right on the launch pad. Okay, so now we're going to do a basic set of science experiments. We're going to do a crew report. We are going to do an EVA, hang on the ladder, because when we do an EVA, hang on the ladder, we get while flying over Kerbin shores. So we're going to keep that data, and now we're going to board, and now we'll put that EVA in the capsule. And now we're going to EVA again, and we're going to let go. Walk a couple steps, and we're going to take another EVA report, and see that this is a report from the launch pad. So we'll keep that data. We'll take a surface sample from the launch pad, keep that data, 9 science. Okay, we're going to turn around and get back in the capsule. Grab, and jump, and board. Alright, now we're going to get out one more time. Let go with the space bar, and now we're going to run down over here and get off the launch pad. Oop, and face plant. Okay, now we're going to do another EVA report from KSC, so this is the general KSC area. And we're going to take one more surface sample. The surface sample is where most of our science is going to be here. Okay, now we can run up back into our capsule. And recover this vessel for some free science. Grab, board, and recover. So as you can see, we have 29.9 science, so we can spend 29 points. And now there are new parts or sections to this recovery screen. There are parts, so we do next. And we see that we get funds back for recovering parts. So the monopropellant, we didn't use any, so we get all of that back. We got all the funds for that. And if you land, the closer you land to KSC, the more money you'll get back for the parts recovered. So it actually pays to try to land close to KSC, but it's not always necessary. Okay, so... And that shows that we did recover our crew. He's alive and he's available for new missions. So we got 25 reputation for this little mission here. So click done. Now let's go into our science lab. So 5 science to uncover the first part, which includes goo pods, a decoupler, and a couple of extra fuel tanks. So let's go ahead and grab that. And then we have enough, 24.9. This is 20, this is 18, and this is 15. So we have enough for one more. I'm going to go ahead and grab... Doesn't matter a whole lot. This does have a radial decoupler. I'll go ahead and choose this one for now. And then we can see some of the... I'm going to call this first tier, second tier, third, and fourth. So now we can see a couple of fourth tier items. So we can get... There's the good old struts, and another radial decoupler. And then a tri-coupler. And down here we have this, probe part. Trying to think of the word for it. Probe, reaction wheel, cockpit, and winglet. What I'm going to do in this series is I'm going to unlock all of one tier instead of trying to cherry pick my way through the tech tree, because I want to show that you don't have to optimize your tech tree by getting very specific parts a couple of tiers up the road. You can accomplish everything you need to accomplish by just going straight up along the line and clearing everything, getting all the tech in each tier, and moving on. Okay, so let's go back. Now let's go to the space plane hangar, because we're not quite done with our simple missions. Let's go ahead and grab a pod here and turn it right side up. And let's go to our science. Grab a couple goo pods. It really doesn't matter how these are on here. Just stick them on like that. And head out once again. Let's give Bill a shot at this one. Head out to the runway, and let's do a little bit more science, see what we can uncover. So we'll do both goo pods. So 3 science there. And if we do this again, it'll show 3 science here, but actually what it'll do is, when we recover, one of them will get all this, and the other will get most of this, pretty much that percentage of this remaining, so close to 1, probably like 0.9. So we'll keep that, and now we'll do a crew report from the runway, 1.5 science. We'll get Bill Kerman out, keep him hanging on the ladder, do an EVA report from there. Okay, this is still Kerbal Shores, so that does not matter, so we can actually let go and come over here and do an EVA report from the runway, 2.4 science, and a surface sample, another 9 science. So 2 little simple missions, and we're pretty much getting all of our money back from these. Alright, so we got 16.6 science there, so I have a total of 23, so we can unlock, and yeah, all our funds back. Mystery goo. They're more expensive than the capsule, 800 each, or 400, 800 each, times 2, 1600, so they're pretty expensive. And then we got our crew back. Alright, let's go get one more of these. Let's get... What do we have here? This is the one... Yeah, let's get this one, because this is the one with the gimbaling engine, which will give us more control as we fly, plus we get the bigger booster. Alright, so just 2 little simple missions allow us to unlock 3 new tech trees before we even start working on contracts. So, that's our next step. We need to work on these contracts. So, launch a new vessel. We did not launch from the launch pad because we just stayed on the ground, so we haven't achieved that one yet. That's just a matter of taking off. Achieve an altitude of 5,000 meters. Reach space and achieve orbit. We're going to wait on that for a little bit, so we'll concentrate on these 2 first. And that's one of the things I want you to do, is pick your contracts that you want to work on, and just concentrate on them, and try not to get confused by all the others that may be in this bar or in the mission control area. Just pick what you want to do, what you can do, and do it, and then move on. Alright, so, get our command pod. We definitely need a parachute, so we can survive this. We want a stack decoupler. And we're just going to grab a regular little solid rocket booster here. And we're going to do one little adjustment. We're going to thrust limit this to 50%. It's 51. Somewhere around there. Not because we don't want to get too fast. We want a longer burn so we get higher up and we can reach that 5,000 meter barrier. Alright, so that is all we need. We're going to give Bob a chance on this one. Send him out to the launch pad. Alright, here we are on the launch pad with Bob Kerman. A couple things I'm going to show you guys that I didn't show you on the first little, well, not launch, but when we came out here with the capsule. Have some new menu bars up here. We have one that shows, if you click it, it'll stay, funds, reputation, and science. We have our standard resources bar, electric charge, monopropellant, solid fuel, and show liquid fuel and oxidizer if we had that. And here's the new one where we show contracts, launch a new vessel, which we're going to do right now. Set an altitude record of 5,000 meters. We're going to attempt that. And finally, and then two that we're not going to do right now, escape the atmosphere and orbit Kerbal. Those are for later. And finally, this is what happens when we complete a contract. This will flash and the number will go up by 1. And then we'll get a chance to review the contracts that we have completed. Anyway, let's get on with it. Bob, alright, SAS on. Throttle doesn't matter because this is a solid rocket booster. We did limit its thrust to 51%, so we don't have to worry about that. And let's get that off the screen. Come on. There we go. Make that a little prettier. Alright, so let's go and leave this on here because we want to see these activate as we complete the contracts. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Alright, we can see we immediately got launch new vessel. And this is flashing, number 1, and now we have a checkbox. This shows us how much we got. We got 4587.16 funds, 5 science, and 10.9 reputation. You can either get rid of it or just close it here. We'll just close it for now. And then we're going to keep flying up, and as we hit 5,000 meters here, we'll complete the second contract. 46, and that one turned green, and that's flashing with the number 2. So that is altitude record of 5,000 meters, 2293 funds, 10.9 reputation. Alright, this is just going to keep on burning. And you see we're still kind of getting a little bit of flame effects. Burn out at about 15,000 meters, and we'll fly up quite a bit more. I think we'll reach something like 30,000 meters. But anyway, this is going to take a while to get back down. So I'm going to time accelerate this bit of footage, and I'll see you guys down near the ground. Alright, we are here underneath our canopy, lowering ourselves down to the ground. And once we get there, we'll be able to see one of the principles involved with our funds acquisition and recovery of funds is that, like I said, the farther away you land from KSC, the less money you get back for the parts. I guess it's a recovery cost. You get 100% back if you land on the runway or on the launch pad. And then a lesser percentage, although a very high percentage anywhere in KSC here. We'll see what that percentage is in just a moment. So it's not really critical at this point, but for later missions and for ongoing budgetary reasons, you might want to think about landing as close as possible. Okay, Bob is down. I don't think, let's see if we can get any other science out of here. I'm not sure. Gonna click on him. There we go, EVA report. No, it's still by the shores, so we don't need anything there. Let's go ahead and walk around. This might be something different. No, this is still surface sample. Well, we get a little extra from this one, so we'll go ahead and take that. But nothing different, because we're still on KSC property. Always worth a try, though. That's one of the principles of science is, you know, if there's new places to go, and you're in a new place, try out all the science just to see if you can get some more. Alright, so let's recover. And okay, so our science, we got our little bit of science from the sample, recovery of vessel that survived the flight, 5, and plus we got 5 for the mission, so now we have a total of 15. Parts, here we go. 98% value, so that's, we landed somewhere over here, a little off screen for this purpose, so 98%. So pretty much everything we needed there. So now we have 42,000 in funds, and we got Bob back. Another 25 reputation, our total is up to 97. Reputation doesn't really do anything in the game yet, but it is something to kind of bragging right. Alright, so that's out of the way. Next mission. Or actually, let's see if we can unlock anything. Yeah, this one down here, 15 science. Yep, that was just enough, so let's go ahead and do that. So we've unlocked the 3rd tier, and now we're working on the 4th, so we can look at, you know, extra larger tanks, struts and launch stability enhancers. They're very handy. Space plane parts and probe parts. Probes will be very handy in doing things where we don't want to risk Kerbals. And an extra science thing with the Science Junior. Okay, so let's get out of here. And let's see if we can build our first orbital spaceship. So let's start from scratch. Put our command pod, and this will be orbit 1. And actually I'm going to do a little nomenclature thing here at the beginning. 001, orbit 1. Just so I have, when I look in the load screen, I have an order of things that, the missions and ships we built. So, okay, save that. Okay, so safety first. We need a parachute. We need a decoupler. We're not going to worry about recovering all the other parts just yet. We'll have plenty of money. And now we need propulsion, so we'll get one of those and one of these for our last stage. Then below that, we'll go for another stage, this time with 2 of these tanks. And another engine, the T-45, because it has the gimbaling engine that gives us extra control. So that's our central rocket. And then we do have these radial decouplers now, so we can attach, let's do 4. And do it on the bottom. And now we're going to go for an all-liquid fuel rocket right now. We can use these boosters, and those will certainly work, and I'll show you that later. But let's go ahead with a simple design. Let's keep everything liquid for now. And we'll put 4 of these on here, and 4 more of these. If I can get the proper placement, there we go. Now we don't have struts yet, so this is going to be mildly unstable. But shouldn't be too much of a problem. So then 4 engines there. I'm going to extend this a bit. Let's get a little extra burn. Alright, so those 4 engines are going to fire first. And then when they're going to separate, and that one's going to fire. And then I'll separate, and this one will fire. And then when we're landing, we'll separate from the capsule from the rest, and then deploy our parachute. So this is just a basic get into orbit rocket. Save that. Let's get Jebediah's turns. We'll get more Kerbals later. And go ahead and launch. Alright, SAS on. And before this topples over, it's only sitting on the one engine. Let's go ahead and 2/3 for now. We got a lot of power here. So 3, 2, 1, lift off. Yeah, 2/3 looks about right. Maybe we may even slow that down a little bit later. Take a look at our flight profile as we climb. We want to keep speed. Basically, we want to hit 200 as we hit 10,000 meters. That's generally a good rule of thumb. And as part of this tutorial series, I also talk about a lot of other principles of the game, like for example, right now, reaching orbit and the velocities you want to hit at certain points, and when to turn over for your gravity turn, how to achieve essentially a circular orbit fairly easily. So this looks pretty good. We're still under 200. We're probably going to approach it. And we still have about half our tanks left. Getting up to 7,000 meters. Jebediah is super happy. Let's go ahead and get our resource meter up. 10,000. Okay, we can start making a gravity turn. I'm just going to turn over just a little bit at first. This this next stage is going to be a little bit weak. And when you have a kind of a weak stage somewhere in there, you want to kind of keep a little more vertical at this early part. So I'm going to turn over just a little bit more. We're just about ready to stage. 20,000 meters for first stage. That's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to keep it still. There we go. Because of these close decouplers, radial decouplers, you don't want to be moving around when you stage, otherwise you might have a collision. Oh, we need power here. We need full power. Okay, 31,000. Okay, now let's take a look at the flight profile here. We're getting good altitude. We're about to hit space with our apoapsis with 70,000 meters. There it is. I'm just going to go up to, I'll go up to 80. And then we'll shut down the engines and wait for this. And so we still have over half of this tank left and plenty of in this tank. So let's go ahead and turn over. We want to be horizontal when we do this next burn. And you can tell that by this line here. This means basically you're pointing at the sky. If this is the prograde marker. If it's in blue, it means you're pointing at the sky. And if it's in the brown, it means you're pointed at the planet you're currently around. Alright, let's take a look here. We're 1 minute and 2 seconds away, so we still have some time. We want to start burning probably around 25 to 30 seconds away. And there's the music to indicate we are in space, so we are at 70,000 meters now. And to achieve orbit, we need to make this orbital velocity about pretty close to 2,300 meters per second. So we need to increase our speed by basically 16, well, about 1,500 more meters per second. Okay, 28 seconds, let's fire up that rocket. Keep it horizontal. We want the apoapsis to kind of stay the same. And you can kind of fiddle with that here by dipping below the horizon or raising up above the horizon. But we want to keep it in front of us. Just on general principle, if it gets behind you, sometimes it can be pretty... Okay, our engine's cut out, so it's time to stage. And this stage will have a lot of pep to it, so it'll get up there. Here we go. Pretty quickly. And when these kind of move away from you, you're pretty close to equal. So there's 73 and 83. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you guys what you want to do if you like circular orbits with even apoapsis and periapsis. Go to the one you want to keep. So we'll keep 83,000 meters. And we'll raise that up too close to it. And then, because you want to do almost all of your adjustments either at the apoapsis or at the periaps. And we will get on the horizon, where the prograde is. And we'll wait till we get a little bit closer, because the closer you are, the more accurate this will be. And then we just need and if you click on this, whoops, the moon's behind it. If you click on it, it'll stay. And now just a very, very slight burn, 82, 83. And when they kind of flip around like that, that's when you know they're pretty close together. 83, 600, 83, 300. Okay, that is very nice. Okay, before we finish this mission, we are going to do some more science. So let's get close up. Let's do a crew report. In space near Kerbin, 5 science. We only can do one of those, but here's something where we can kind of get a bunch of different things. EVA report. Space above Kerbin's water, 8 science. Board. Alright, now, it's kind of dark. I don't know if you can see it, but here's water, and then here's the land. So let's go ahead and speed up. And now we're over land again. And now we can do another EVA. Kerbin's highlands. So now we're taking advantage of the fact that Kerbin has what are called biomes. Water's one, grassland, highland, mountains, poles, desert. So let's go ahead and board again. Now put our science in the capsule so we can review stored data. So we have an EVA report from the highlands, one from above Kerbin's waters. And we'll just keep all that. And let's try another EVA. Still over highlands, so we'll just reset and board again. Let's go ahead and get to the daylight side so we can see what we're doing. Because we can get plenty of stuff here once we can see what's going on. There we go. We already did above water, so let's go ahead and speed up a little bit more. Here we might be able to get a mountain one. We're pretty much on the equator. Alright, let's see what this is. Highlands again. We're still highlands, so let's reset that. And there we go. Let's get a very nice scenic view here. Let's try this again. Still over highlands. There we go, mountains. So we'll keep that data. Board. And then it looks like here, I think that's more highlands. We haven't hit grasslands yet. Grasslands are like everywhere. Let's try here. Still highlands. Grasslands are so easy to get though. I'm not really worried about it. This is just kind of a bonus for this mission. We are coming up on a desert. We can't accelerate while we're on the ladder, so let's go ahead and board. And accelerate a bit. EVA once more. Kerbin's deserts. Board. Alright, now let's go a little bit farther. We want to try to get a shores one. So somewhere along here. So we'll just keep kind of spamming the EVA button until we... Still deserts. Desert. Desert. Should get a shore one here. There we go, shores. Alright, so that's enough of that. There's more you can get. So you can create more of these orbits. Maybe do a polar orbit to get the poles. Badlands, I'm not I always forget where those are. Okay, so let's get into our map view. And here's KSC coming up right now. So let's point towards retrograde, which is this little cross hair marker. And let's start burning. And what we want to do is overshoot KSC a little bit because air resistance will slow us down and make us land closer to it. And a good rule of thumb is just beyond this island. I'm just barely burning, so I want to try to control this a bit. If you're in the normal orbit, low orbit, this seems to be a pretty good rule of thumb. Like I said, just beyond this island of this chain. So we'll cut right there. Go ahead and get into this view. We don't need SAS anymore. We can go ahead and accelerate until we hit the atmosphere. And the game will automatically stop acceleration once you hit the atmosphere. I'm not going to attempt fate by doing a time warp there, but I will time warp the video footage until we get closer to the ground. See you in a moment. Alright, we are coming down and over the mountains, which I'm not too happy about. So let's go ahead and stage this. And then go ahead and open the parachute here. Because one of the bad things going to happen is if you, even with a parachute, if you land on one of these really steep slopes, the capsule could still explode and kill your Kerbal. So landing in the mountains without some way of controlling where you land is not generally a good idea. But looks like we've found a pretty safe landing spot. While we're waiting for this to reach the ground, let's take a look. As you can see, the number 4 is here. So we've completed this contract, escaped the atmosphere, and we got 29,527 funds for that, and 15 science just for that. The contracts provide quite a bit of extra science, so we don't have to necessarily do as much science on its own anymore. And then the other one, stable orbit, 30 science, and 59,000 funds. So now we have a total of 110,000 funds, and 45 more science to spend, which is actually perfect, which I'll show you in just a moment. So let's go ahead and close that. Where are you, Mr. Jebediah? Let's do a crew report and find out. Nope, there's already one in there, so let's get you out, EVA. And let's take all this data. Then we can store it again. And then we can do an EVA report hanging on the ladder sideways. So, in the mountains, okay, that's a new biome, and a hard one to get, like I said. You don't want to necessarily land here unless you have more control than we did. So we'll go ahead and keep that data. Let's go ahead and board. And now we can do a crew, because I took the old crew report out and put it back in, it leaves room for a new crew report. Crew report from Kerbin's Mountains, 1.5 science. And now we can get out once more. Let go. And walk just a couple steps. Do an EVA report from the ground. 2.4 science. And the surface sample, which we know is 9 science. Keep that data. I don't think... Oh, yep, I was able to grab it. So we can board and recover everything at once. And science, the science we gathered from EVAs and crew reports and all that, added up to 73.5 science. So now we have 119 total. Our parts, okay, that's a good kind of thing. We landed about 50 kilometers away, and we got 95% of the value. So that's good to know. And we got our crew guy back, and we got 24 reputation. We have 356 total now. Okay, let's take a look at the science building, see what we can buy. Okay, so we have 119, they're 45 each, so 2 would be 90, 3 would be 135, so we can get 2 of these. I'm not too interested in this just yet. I am interested in the science and the battery. And right now, this looks good, but we can kind of fake it with 2 of the half-size tanks. So I think struts and the stability enhancers and the radial decoupler are going to come in a little more handy right now, so I'm going to grab that one first. So that's our science. So we've uncovered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nodes already. And now let's take a quick look in here. Now we see we've unlocked, or they've entered a whole bunch of new contracts. This episode is getting a little long, so let's go ahead and, for episode 2, we'll talk about each of these contracts in detail and which ones we should choose, which ones we shouldn't choose, and how to go about fulfilling the contracts that we have chosen. So we have no active, and here's the 4 that we've completed. We've failed none, and we've canceled none. Anyway, that's it for episode 1 of How to Contract in Kerbal Space Program version 0.24. My name is Jim. I want to thank you for joining me. Have a great day.